Justin Trudeau, the world's most prominent social justice LARPer, has just pulled off the hat trick of wearing blackface, having now been caught on three separate occasions, painting not just his face but his arms and legs with black makeup. And now, according to The Guardian, Trudeau says he can't recall how many times he wore blackface makeup. The article goes on, footage emerges of third instance of Canadian Prime Minister in blackface, with 1 month to go before election. Justin Trudeau is scrambling to halt further damage to his re-election campaign after a string of racist images from his past put Canada's image-conscious Prime Minister in the center of yet another scandal. Trudeau admitted he could not remember how often he had worn blackface makeup. "I am wary of being definitive about this because of the recent pictures that came out. I had not remembered," he told reporters in Winnipeg. A spokesman for the Prime Minister said he had spent the morning calling Liberal candidates and community leaders to fully apologize for what he did, knowing how racist and hurtful this type of thing was. The scandal erupted late on Wednesday when Time magazine published an image of Trudeau dressed as Aladdin, complete with dark-skin makeup and a turban, at a 2001 function at a private school, where he was then working as a 29-year-old teacher. Trudeau immediately apologized and acknowledged that he had previously blackened up at a high school talent show when he had sung Deo, the traditional Jamaican song. And I find this so amusing because he can't even remember how many times he has done this routine of smearing his face, arms, and legs with black makeup. You know, one Halloween, I dressed up as Slash from Guns N' Roses. I know how many times I dressed up as Slash. I did it once. I wore the costume once. It was pretty cool. It was fun. And that was it. I can't imagine how many times Trudeau must have worn blackface to not even want to hazard a guess at how often he'd worn the costume. I laugh at this. I'm more just jealous, like, how much does this guy get to party? I don't have an opportunity to go to enough parties where I get to wear a costume to have no idea how many times I had dressed up in it. So what you would think is the Liberals in his party would abandon him, because this is clearly against everything they claim to stand for. The social justice, the whole hierarchy, the tone-deaf things. We saw Megyn Kelly get fired for a fraction of this. Not that I'm a fan of hers, but we see people losing their jobs all of the time in America and Canada for relatively minor racially insensitive things. We have constant training going on. Colleges are doing white privilege workshops. And yet here you have about the most offensive thing in this pantheon of outrage that anybody can do. And the golden boy, the Mr. not humankind, because it's got the word man in it, but people kind, Mr. Tolerant, literally can't remember how many times he's worn blackface. So you would probably expect the left would be outraged. Well, not in his own country. The article goes on, "What Justin Trudeau did was wrong. He has apologized. I know it is not representative of the man he is," Mitzi Hunter, a black member of Ontario's Liberal Party, tweeted. "This is a teachable moment for all of us. I accept his apology, and I hope Canadians do too." I wonder if he would accept the heartfelt apology of a conservative that perhaps put on a stupid Halloween costume 1, 2, 3 more times than I can count, We all know what's going on. This is just politics. And it shows you the outrage is all manufactured, too. It's all theater. It's all a game. And it's really sad because, the most offensive word left in the English language is a racial slur, right? It's the one word that can get you exiled from all of society. And so what that tells you is that judging people on their merits, on the content of their character, is the value that Westerners hold dearest right now. It might change as this game gets played, and it's really sad because what these people are doing is they're capitalizing on the goodwill. They're capitalizing on the good-heartedness of their citizens and just leveraging it, just taking advantage of it to save themselves from having to make coherent cases and good policy decisions, and just people that want to make a naked power grab can wave this stuff around. And I don't know, we're still falling for it. So you may be thinking the Canadian political class might forgive him, but down here in America, we really care about this sort of thing. Well, you'd be wrong. Obama emerges from political hibernation to endorse Justin Trudeau in what Bloomberg reports as one of the closest election races in Canada's history. It will all come down to incumbent Justin Trudeau's ability to persuade his marginal supporters to look past his blackface wearing missteps and cast their ballots. Crucially, women and young voters are key, which is perhaps why the fact that former U.S. President Barack Obama has come out of hiding to tweet his endorsement of the blackface-wearing Canadian is even more crucial just days before the election. Barack Obama tweets, "I was proud to work with Justin Trudeau as president. He's a hard-working, effective leader who takes on big issues like climate change. This world needs his progressive leadership now, and I hope our neighbors to the north support him for another term." So here they are, shaking hands. Apparently, there's no outrage when you're a liberal among liberals. If Obama's support helps Trudeau with this marginal voter, he should win a second term, albeit with a weakened mandate. If he doesn't, he'll go down as a one-term wonder, allowing little-known Andrew Scheer to become the next prime minister. According to Canadian Broadcasting Corps aggregate poll, averages 54% of Canadians disapprove of his performance, with an approval rating of just 31%. Most notably, however, Obama endorsing a white guy who mocked black people by dressing up in blackface more times than he can count seems stunningly hypocritical, especially given his lack of endorsement of Joe Biden or any of the U.S. Democratic field. But that's okay, this hypocrisy doesn't bother me. That's what we have late-night comics for, right? To call out the hypocrisy of politicians. I'm sure that Jimmy Kimmel will get right on this, right? Oh, yeah. Karl Malone, that's right, I forgot. I don't know, he seems to have gotten a pass on this as well. I'm sure that his ex-wife, Sarah Silverman, will take him to task for this, however. Oh, wait. Okay, well, maybe, the whole racial thing, maybe there's a little hypocrisy, but they definitely stand up for gay rights, and they don't make any excuses for anyone that's gone on a homophobic rant, right? Oh, yeah. I forgot about that guy. Okay. So maybe it's not, they're not so worried about the gay rights, but at least we have the whole sexist thing, right? Like the liberals, they really stand up for women. They would never stand up for a man who is, say, sexually harassed. Yeah. So, I mean, we joke about this tongue in cheek, but what's going on here? I think what we are seeing, this is Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Rule number 4 is make the enemy live up to its own book of rules. And this is interesting, right? Because Rules for Radicals is all about mobilizing people by creating an enemy and then getting them to attack that enemy and make political change. But I'm thinking, make the enemy live up to its own rules. Well, who is the enemy? It's not just conservatives that want to live in a meritocracy or that believe in the dream that a man should be judged based on the content of his character. That's everybody in the West. That's the general population. We would all like to see the best man win or woman win. We would like to see people chosen based on their ability. It makes the most logical sense, and it is the most fair. So when they say make the enemy live up to their own book of rules, and yet they pardon each other back and forth while hurling the invective racist, bigot, homophobe at the end of every Huffington Post article about Donald Trump, you realize the enemy is not just Republicans or conservatives in their eyes. We are their enemy. Everyone, the people, are their enemy. They have no respect for the decency and values that have made the West a great place to live. You know, these people would call you a witch if witch was the attack that would stick, if it would work. And it's frustrating and it's kind of sad to see just how many fall for this simplistic tactic. But the first step to recovery, just like Alcoholics Anonymous, is admitting there's a problem. Bringing awareness to an issue helps break the spell. It helps break the delusion. It's a very postmodern thing to think that rules apply to thee but not to me. But, you know, this is up to the Canadian voter. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Barack Obama is right. After all, he's just in blackface.